I had to basically put my mind in timeout for a minute and just tell myself, I don't need to have that fear that it won't work out. I remember my brother talking to me at one point about it because he's actually featured in the magazine a little bit. And he was like, why not? Just go for it. Just do it. You don't need to think about the idea about it failing because it won't. If you think about it failing, it will. But if you don't have that, it won't.
I think that we all could learn to be better mentors. And I think the other piece of it is for young women to learn how to ask for mentors. Women are learning about love and being good to one another. I mean, the ripple effect is astounding.
Yeah. Welcome to the She Believed She Could podcast. I'm your host, Allison Walsh. Since 2020, this show has inspired thousands of women around the world to believe in themselves and take bold action toward the lives they're meant to live. Each episode brings you powerful conversations and practical strategies to strengthen your mindset, build your confidence and brand, grow your business, and protect your well-being, all while spotlighting stories of women who are making a difference and changing the world in their own way. I am so glad you're here. Now let's get to work.
For the women who do it all, and then do a little more. We're here for you. At AdventHealth for Women, we created the region's only women's health navigation team to make healthcare simpler. Our registered nurses will match you with the right doctors, schedule your appointments, and more for you and your whole family. So you can keep making hard look easy.
Today's conversation is such a special one. I'm joined by Michele and Aleks Arwood, a mother-daughter duo and the co-founders of Aveline, a magazine, podcast, and learning community created for young women in their season of becoming. Aleks is a natural storyteller, editor, and creative leader who's building Aveline as a space for young women so that they can see themselves, trust their ideas, and feel less alone as they find their way. Michele brings decades of experience in storytelling, branding, and community building, and has spent her career turning vision into impact through creative leadership and meaningful connection. Together, they are reimagining what mentorship, creativity, and legacy can look like across generations. And I am so excited to share this conversation with you. So let's jump in. I am so excited to have both of you on this show today. Truly a dynamic duo, a mother-daughter duo as well, which is so special. So Aleks and Michele, welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
So
excited to be here.
It's going to be great. So we're going to get really into a deep conversation around launching something very special. And I know you've got some great advice for our listeners today, but I would love for you just to start with introducing yourself. So we'll start with Aleks.
Yeah, I'm Aleks. I am freshly 23. But about a year ago, Mom and I decided to develop a magazine. So we are launching a magazine called Aveline. It's a young women's companion, like I like to call it. So just this companion that you take along with you in this new phase of life. So for the girls who have felt way too much of the comparison culture that is around us today, but showing them how to step into who they truly are by reading stories about women who've already done that. I always talk about you always want to do something that you've wanted to do in life, and you just have to take that first step. And we're showing young women how to do that through this.
Well, it's super valuable. Yeah. And I can't wait to talk more about this. And then Michele, I'd love for the audience to get to know you too.
Yeah, so I technically serve as the creative director and a little bit of the COO, really running the back end operations. Aleks is the editor. And it's been a beautiful experience to collaborate. I get the opportunity to use almost 30 years of experience in branding and marketing and advertising and even publishing. So it's been fun to pull those pieces together and really bring it to life.
Yeah, so let's double click there for a second too, because you've had a really cool career.
I have.
And have just so much experience that you are bringing to this beautiful project and business. So share a little bit more about what you've done.
Yeah, so I, this is definitely going to give away my fabulous age, but I know we'll talk about this, but I'm on my third career, really. I started in advertising in Atlanta at some of the fabulous agencies and learned so much about the power of just leveraging ideas and taking risks. I had a fabulous boss that used to say the safe way was a grocery store, and that's the only way you need to think about doing things the safe way. And I've really carried that with me, and then moved into branding and strategic philanthropy, working with corporations to help them align their mission and purpose around their product. And then later landed in the nonprofit arts arena, really to help develop a strategic plan for an organization, and found my love for elevating and amplifying artists. And I will say that is really a theme through everything I've done over the decades, is really being surrounded by creative people who have amazing ideas and often do not have really the confidence and belief that they have the ability to make a difference. And I will say, from the day I started my first job until today, that is a theme that runs for everyone I've ever met. So I'm very committed to really helping people find what really lights them up and doing that well.
Well, I'm super excited to drill into more around the magazine. But I mean, Aleks, you're 23 years old.
Yes.
This is a huge venture.
It is.
So I want to hear a little bit more about what sparked this, because you shared a little bit, but I know you've had a depth of experience yourself.
I do.
And like leading up into this point at the young old age of 23. But there's so much there. And you've always been so thoughtful about sharing your lived experiences or where you see opportunities to fill the gap. So let's talk about that, because this is a huge undertaking.
Yes. Well, at the root of it, I'm a journalist. I'm at the University of Georgia at the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communications. So graduate in May, which I'm so excited about.
Huge.
But I have always had a love for telling other people's story. I think Mom can attest to this. I remember being 7 years old, walking around with a little notepad, just asking my grandmother questions and anyone who would be willing to talk to me for more than 5 minutes. So I've always loved to tell stories, but especially stories of young women who are doing really amazing things. And Mom and I have always wanted to do something together. And you guys will hear later, I call her Birdie a lot. That's her grandmother name.
I love that.
But Bird and I have always wanted to do something together. And we didn't know if that was, a fashion line or something, because we are so in tandem with the things that we like. We look like twins. So we've always been so aligned on stuff like that. And about a year ago, we kind of came into this field of, well, Mom has the experience, I have the writing experience. Why don't we mesh that together? And being a part of the Miss America organization, have the opportunity to cover young women who are doing incredible things all around me. And it was just kind of like that door opening of understanding where the opportunity is there. Nobody has taken it yet. Why won't it be us?
Yeah, exactly. Create the lane.
Yes.
And that coupled with what she really experienced going through just the last 4 years competing, and what she's learned from other young women and what they struggle with.
Yes.
And I would say that I think the seed for it started literally 4 years ago.
It did, yes.
Yeah, it's amazing when you feel like you've found something that can be a solution to the problem.
Yes.
It becomes this mission and this fire and this purpose. And it's been so wonderful to witness. Truly an honor to be on the sidelines of your life, watching you really uncover and define what it is that you wanted to do. But I know that the theme of today and some of the things that we really wanted to talk about was having and is having the courage to try something new. And, you can get stuck in this just perfection trap, which I feel like so many high achieving women of all ages, right? Like you want it to be perfect before you hit publish. And in some ways you have to just start in order to be able to do that.
Yes.
So let's talk about the mindset of starting something like this too. And obviously you've had lots of great lived experiences that have encouraged you to put yourself out there. But how did you really decide that now was the time?
I had to basically put my mind in timeout for a minute and just tell myself, I don't need to have that fear that it won't work out. I remember my brother talking to me at one point about it, because he's actually featured in the magazine a little bit. And he was like, why not? Just go for it. Just do it. You don't need to think about the idea about it failing, because it won't. If you think about it failing, it will. But if you don't have that, it won't. So having the real conversations and talking with Bird about, what's the reality of this? How can we really get this going? How can we get a market out there who wants to read this? And just understanding that there are young women who are wanting to be a part of this. And that's been what is so amazing about it, is when we do cover these girls, they are so excited about it, and their moms are excited about it. The women around them are excited about it. So putting my brain in timeout, telling myself that I can do it. I have someone who has the experience alongside with me, but just to go for it.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that too. And I found myself having similar feelings even with this show, or as I've launched different things over the last several years, especially when I can think about who I'm going to impact. It becomes less about me and like, what if it doesn't work, and more about how can I help other women shine?
Yes.
And that changes everything. And that they are like really the rocket fuel to everything. Like everybody in this community, individuals like yourself, when I think about how can I turn the spotlight up, right? Or how can I give a voice to their story or share it with more people? It just sets my soul on fire. So I'm just so excited because I think you're going to have the best experience just again, being able to amplify women. Yes. And you truly are a girl's girl. Like you are cheering people on.
I truly hope so.
You are. Well, and I mean, your involvement in the Miss America opportunity. So we can talk about that. I think that kind of lays the groundwork for it, right? It's a celebration of women. But what else are you looking forward to as you really lean into sharing more stories? Because it's not just going to be the magazine. There's other things that I know you both are looking forward to doing.
For me personally, I would say seeing what happens for the girls later on. I've wanted to give young women the opportunity to be a part of this. So our writers, our photographers, our graphic designers, being able to have that on their resume, especially going out of college. So what they get to do beyond that and how it will impact their own career, kind of like you were talking about, giving them that little pathway to succeed and to continue. And knowing that we get to be a small part of that is really heartwarming and really exciting because I'm also in that messy middle of figuring out like what's my next step. Right. And if I can help those young women along that way of figuring out that step, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, and I think the other part of that is the community that comes with it. So with each issue, we'll be gathering panels and workshops and whatever we're talking about in the magazine or featuring. Participants will have the opportunity to really engage in that. And I think the opportunity for each of them to meet one another and build this network of people that they can call on. You and I both know that our careers are where they are because of the people that we were connected with. And community, I think, is the undergirding of what is really the most exciting part.
Yeah, it is. And it's truly unbelievable, the relationships that can develop. And I've talked about that a lot in regards to this show, just the people that I've been able to meet, those that I didn't know before they came on, learning their stories, being able to connect them with other people, then doing business together. And, when I see you two, I just am immediately reminded, I know I've shared, just some insight and names and recommendations of people that have made a big difference on my life. But Christy Ashby and Kate Slentz are a mother-daughter duo that have a magazine locally. They've also launched a podcast. And get this, they literally just signed a deal with Orlando International Airport and are going to have a store there that's literally an extension of the brand. So talk about people that have just done
fantastic,
unbelievable things. They have the Orlando Women's Conference. I've just seen them make such a huge difference in this world. And it all, like my relationship with them started when I was 23. Well, I was actually younger. I was in my teenage years, but really Christy amplified my voice when I was 23 and gave me opportunities to share my story with her audience and really opened up so many doors for me. So I'm excited because you get to be that for other young women. And she changed my life in so many ways, right? And I can look to her as somebody who I am just eternally grateful for. And I know that that is the heart behind what you're doing. And that's really special. And we need more people like you two in this world. So I'm super excited about it. I'm curious though, like you've definitely been like figuring things out as you've been working towards this. This is not a quick turnaround launch. You are doing it thoughtfully and thoroughly because you do have the desire for this to be a much bigger experience than a magazine. But I'm curious, like, what have you learned about yourself or maybe the process along the way?
How much time do we have?
So much. But we'll start with you, Alex, and then I want to hear from your mom.
I would say what brings me the most joy when doing it. I'm such the type of person that if it does not spark joy within myself, it is so hard to get me to do it, which I feel like that's for most people.
Yeah, most people. That's normal.
But finding the skills within it of saying, oh, I'm really good at this, but also learning how to delegate at such a young age to get help in the fields that you might not have the greatest strength in. And you're the one who told me that.
You don't have to do everything.
Yes. So honestly, learning how to manage while being 23, because we have so many seasoned women who are on board with us. So helping and coming to them and saying, hey, like, I don't necessarily know how to do this, but you do. Can you take it and run with it? Because I want this to succeed in the best way possible. And if you have the knowledge and the skill set behind it, please take this off my plate. But also learning how to work in tandem with mom and learning, how well we work together and to see how similar we are in our work factors and in our work ethic has been really, really amazing. But just learning how to step into that role. I joke that I'm in the middle of like, I know what I'm doing, but I also don't know what I'm doing. And that's where she comes into play. So being given the space and the ability to step into that and to step into the role that I was given and to truly understand that this is what I've always wanted to do. And now we have the time to do it. So there's a lot of learning. Some of them are curves, but some of them are just really major excitement goals.
Well, and I want to applaud the fact that for many, imposter syndrome probably would have stopped them from proceeding, and it didn't stop you.
Yes.
Because it can be hard, especially when you're a beginner at something, right? You bring a lot of knowledge and skills to the table, but you've never launched a magazine before. But you've surrounded yourself with really smart people. And that's the takeaway that I want the audience to really let sink in, is that you don't have to figure it out alone.
No.
You can build a community around you to help you. Or a board of advisors, right? Or just bringing in the right people, and you don't have to do it all yourself. You will get stuck in analysis paralysis if you're trying to do it all by yourself and you're trying to navigate uncharted waters without support. And so there's just no need to do that. It makes it so much harder, so much more painful, and it's really lonely. So we don't want to do that. Yeah. But
for the women who do it all and then do a little more, we're here for you. At AdventHealth for Women, we created the region's only women's health navigation team to make healthcare simpler. Our registered nurses will match you with the right doctors, schedule your appointments, and more for you and your whole family, so you can keep making hard look easy.
Michele, what have you learned in the process?
Well, to kind of jump off of what you just said, I think the real power of mentorship and understanding what it really does mean to be a mentor. I've done that all of my career. But until I've really worked with Aleks and been able to relate to where she's really coming from emotionally as much as she is technically, that's a new dynamic and an element that I'm really excited about and have been able to learn from. I think that we all could learn to be better mentors. And I think the other piece of it is for young women to learn how to ask for mentors and to not be afraid. And I will say that my observation is so many of them are really afraid to ask for help. I don't know if that's because they're afraid of appearing as if they don't know. And part of this culture of we have to know everything, I think is driving that. But just I really learning how to be a good mentor and to be on the receiving end of that too.
I agree completely because, I am where I am today because of the mentors and the people that poured into my life.
Right.
And, one of my greatest mentors took me under her wing when I was 18 years old. And it was because I was bold enough to ask, right? I could have flown under the radar forever. She never would have known who I was. She was the CEO of a large nonprofit organization, but I asked. And then she clicked with me, and I think she got just as much out of it. Like I could tell she was enjoying it. And like once you have that type of connection with people, they become lifelong individuals in your life, even if they're not serving in a mentor capacity forever, but they are special people that will always be by your side. And it's so critically important. So I love that you talked about that. And I think more women, especially those of us that have experience that can share the experience, I really encourage you, if you're listening and you haven't started mentoring somebody, please put yourself out there.
Yeah. And I want to build on that too. I think we underestimate the access and how important it is to have access and how privileged it is to have access. But to really be able to build a network where anyone around you really can be a mentor and just really think a little bit more about what they can bring to the table in your life. It doesn't always have to be about career.
Right. No, truly. Very much so. Yeah. I mean, we are not meant to do life alone.
No, we are not. No.
At all. So I want to go back to the magazine a little bit further though. Aleks, when you think about who you're writing to, right? Like we talk a lot about like marketing and branding and strategy on this show too. You know, we always talk about really knowing who you're speaking to, right? And so when you've been putting this together and curating the magazine and even the vision for the future, like who is your ideal reader?
Yeah, so I am a very visual person. So when I was kind of crafting this and figuring out that question for myself when I was first figuring this out, I was imagining the girl who sits kind of in the back of the classroom, who has these really crazy and bold ideas that she's always wanted to accomplish. But she also has such this crippling fear of the comparison that's around her, not feeling like she's enough and thinking that she's too far behind compared to the girls that are around her. We all feel like that. I think the three of us can say that we have been that girl at one point. But the girl who is just brave enough to say, you know what, I have a path in front of me and I want to go for it. But just that curiosity, the excitement, and the joy. So the girl who is ready to go but doesn't necessarily know how, that's where we come into play. Because I've been that girl for so many years. And now I'm at a phase where I've gotten out of that little headspace. But to the girl who is in that kind of anxious category division, but who is ready to step into who she is truly meant to be.
Yeah, and you're going to.
And I want to say I'm still there. You know,
we were back to it.
I mean, it's totally normal. I think that naturally high achievers can get stuck in that place of I'm not enough. They know more about whatever it is than I do, so therefore I'm not going to raise my hand. But I need a resource so I can figure it out. And I really resonate with that. It was 2015. That I was searching for something. I was kind of in this mentorship gap, actually. My mentor had passed away from cancer, and I didn't really have somebody in that role, that person I could call. I set a New Year's resolution to read more that year. I was like, I'm going to read at least a book a month. Turns out I read 50 books that year because I just became obsessed with personal and professional development. Shocking. But it was in that moment because I found roadmaps, right? I found blueprints. I found powerful words that I could turn to and that would make a difference and therefore have enriched my life tremendously, so much so that anybody that's looking for a book usually pings me and says like, hey, what should I read next? Because I became so thirsty for it. And I think that the magazine is going to be that for so many young women that once they pick it up and they find themselves, they see themselves in the words on the page, it will instantly feel like a best friend is speaking to them and will enable them to find comfort and connection and community because they will know that they are not the only person that feels the way that they feel. So
and they will know who to call.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is why we call it a companion.
Yes.
Your stylish little friend that you bring with you.
Exactly. So, and let's talk a little bit more about the name too, because I mean, I've loved kind of being on the sidelines watching this all, transpire, but she's had a name change already, but I think where you landed is perfect. So can you give a little bit of background on what it means and how you landed here?
So Art of the Pivot, learning that early on. Ooh, we had one name that we were just so in love with. And then, of course, trademark issues come up. Someone else had already taken the name, so good for them. But we were trying to figure out something that would be beautiful, something that would resonate with the audience, but also have a good meaning behind it. So I mentioned we call Mom Birdie, but Aveline actually means little bird in French. So it also is just kind of this idea of young women leaving the nest, so taking flight, having the little bird and the title. And I just think it is such a beautiful name. And I think it's just, I don't know, I've always loved
elegant.
It
is.
It is. And it sounds good. I love it.
Yeah. And I love that it's a name that you can, it's almost, you can see it as a young woman.
Yes.
You can see who she is. And
Well, and also permission to be in that place, right?
Yes.
I think that's the other thing too. It's like you spend so many years growing up under your parents' wing, so to speak, and then that transition period, right? Like that, 18 to 25-year-old range is crazy when you're just like, who am I? Like,
yes, it is.
I mean, I had a literally midlife crisis. I had a quarter life crisis at 25. Like I will never forget. My husband remembers this. He's like, he couldn't say happy birthday. He just had to say happy Tuesday, the day I turned 25, because I just felt lost. And I had some really great success, but I just didn't know where I was going. And I think, again, having permission to be in this place of figuring it out. And to your point earlier, there's just this weird shift in energy, especially more now than it was even when I was younger, of just like this assumption that you know what you're going to do. And it's like, no,
you don't.
You can evolve. And like just giving yourself permission to evolve is a beautiful mindset shift. And it allows you to be curious and seek out other opportunities and try things and let it be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect, but
messy
like
middle.
Exactly. But try, right?
Yes.
And be exposed to what else exists. And I think that's the other cool thing about the magazine is that you are sharing stories. You're shining the spotlight on other women who are doing cool things, that it can be a spark of creativity for somebody else. So.
And that it is the season of becoming, but to also know that 7 years later, you're going to become again.
Yes.
And then you're going to become again. And I think if young women can figure this out or find their strength and their footing early, when this happens again at 35 and at 45 and at 55, you are ready. Like there is no telling what you could do.
Yeah, you're not holding on to a past version of yourself.
Right.
When the whole point of life is to evolve into the complete person you were intended to be. So I
whole
love
happy
this.
human.
Exactly. Okay, so I want to pivot just a little bit. We talked about the fact that you're competing in the Miss America organization. You know, we have a huge love for that organization around here. So many women that actually work in our company have also been a part of that. So it's been so fun. But what do you feel have been some of the greatest life lessons or skills that you've taken away from being involved in such an organization?
Oh my goodness, there are so many. I would say that I am a completely different person now compared to who I was about 4 years ago. I joined the organization on such a whim. I did not grow up doing pageants. I did, I think, 2 in high school for my community, and it was more of a community ambassador program. But I was in this weird phase where I started my college experience at the University of Mississippi, quickly realized that it was not really where I wanted to be in that moment. So I decided to transfer back in state, and my goal was to get into the University of Georgia. So I remember coming home and feeling so lost, and you said that 18 to 25 range. Still in that. I was 19 and I was so lost in what I wanted to do. And I grew up a dancer. So I knew that I wanted to be back on stage. And Mom had the idea. She said, you know, Miss Albany is coming up. Why don't you just do that competition?
Yeah.
I remember telling her, that is crazy. I've never done an actual pageant before. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I signed up. 2 weeks later, I competed, walked in, and I met my best friend in the first 30 minutes. And then won Miss Albany that night. And I got the pageant bug, as we call it. Absolutely love it. But I am such a different person from then to now. I know what I want my path to be. I know that it's achievable, but I also surrounded myself with like-minded women. And that has been the biggest thing. I have never really grown up with a set huge friend group. I keep my circle very small and very close. But stepping into the Miss America organization, I see young women who are so determined and who are so driven. And all of that energy around you really motivates you. So I find my best friends, like we say, we find our bridesmaids. And I truly have. But just learning who I was meant to be through this organization has been such a gift. It's given us Aveline. It's given us the idea that, I want to continue within journalism. I want to inspire other young women around me. And now that I have that opportunity through the Miss America opportunity and through Miss Georgia, it has been so life-changing. And I think Mom can attest to that too.
Yeah. And I would say just watching the things that she has learned in community with other women, but the skills, my goodness, her ability to communicate. And I've enjoyed watching all of the young women that she's been competing with grow almost every month. You see some new growth, and it's just really beautiful to watch. And I think this is going to be a really meaningful era for pageantry, but specifically the Miss America organization and what it does to support education and growth and just basic life skills. So I'll go off on just a tangent for a minute and say, as someone who has employed young people my entire career, again, it's been interesting to watch the evolution in soft skills and what that I don't even know if it's really a soft skill, a human skill, to be able to communicate and relate and read a room and just be comfortable in your skin. It's very different than it was 20 years ago. And I just think that what this arena does for young women is a remarkable gift.
It truly is. I mean, I love the fact that they've really included opportunity so much in the branding and messaging around it, because it's an opportunity for you to develop skills. It's an opportunity for you to earn scholarships, but you become a better version of yourself competing.
You do.
And, I competed 4 times before I won Miss Florida. And every single year it was, of course, I loved that I was placing and, I was growing and all this stuff, but like, I just appreciated how much personal growth was happening, and all of the other things that I was working on had so much strength and momentum, because I was intentionally doing things each and every day to show up for my community, to do launch initiatives, to give back, to hone my own skills. And what I noticed was that, you're growing in a time period where stagnant can be the go-to, right? Like, especially like those 4 years in college, you're going to class and all this stuff, but are you really growing to a point where you are super employable and you stand out from your peers? Your resume is exploding because you have a lot of opportunities that are either coming to you or that you're creating for yourself. And I was noticing that as I was getting older, because I started competing when I was a freshman in college, I just was starting to really outpace where, others were. And not that it's a competition, but I was very mindful of the fact that I was adding more to my resume that was going to help me in my future. And I loved that. And that was something even way back when, 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I started, like, it made a big difference.
I remember in the last, I think it was the last couple of competitions we were in, I was really thinking about what these women are learning about love and being good to one another. And if you imagine, so let's take the Miss Georgia, they have 92 young women competing between the teen and the Miss Division. That's 92 young women who are learning how to be in company with one another, how to care for one another, support people in a team, lift one another up. Imagine what's going to happen when each of those 92 women go out into the workforce or do whatever it is they're doing, and they have that touchstone to what it's like to relate to others. You can, the ripple effect is astounding. And anyway,
it truly is.
I don't think we're talking about that enough.
Right. Well, the celebration aspect, learning how to celebrate one another is also, and celebrate yourself too, because again, Miss America attracts high achieving young women, and it does give you the chance to celebrate your growth, your accomplishments, and those of others.
And to learn that you are competing in the world. And you're going to fail. You are not going to win every time. But the resilience that they walk out with is pretty remarkable.
Pretty special. Were you going to add to that too?
I was just going to say, you said something a while ago, if you're worried about the world, you can look towards the women in the Miss America organization and you can feel so much comfort. Because it's so true. I have never seen women who have such creative ideas on problem solving. It's very comforting. And I was also going to say, it's so funny when I tell people that I met my best friends within the organization, they're like, what do you mean you compete against them? And I'm like, that doesn't matter. If she wins, I win. That's the biggest thing around that, is that we are all truly a sisterhood.
It's been pretty special. And then pro tip for anybody that hires individuals, I grew large teams for prior organizations. And now that I'm building out my team, I always go into the Miss America organization first. So, my 2 companies ago, I hired, I think there were 6 of us from the Miss America organization on the team. And it was so fun, of course. Then you're like working with great young women, and they were keeping me young. And then went to the next organization, recruited again. And now as I'm building up my own company, recruiting again, because there's a work ethic and a drive and a determination and the follow through and the polish and the poise and the understanding that you're representing an organization larger than yourself and that reputation matters and that I need them to be able to communicate. They could do that beautifully as well. So there's so much. So those that are employing people, look within the Miss America organization for the young women that are coming out of it, because those are, again, lifelong skills. You don't lose those. Those are with you for the rest of your life.
Keep them for sure.
Absolutely. So, all right. So as we wrap up today, there are a couple questions that I love to ask those that come on our show. The first one being, what does confidence mean to you?
Being so joyful in who you are and who you are slowly becoming, and being ready to face the change, but being proud of where you are and what you have done and what you are continuing to do.
Beautiful. What about you, Michele?
Oh boy, I think about it. I think about what it looks like, what confidence looks like. For me, it's seeing someone walk into a room or walking into a room and forgetting about myself, not worrying about who's there, what I'm wearing, but just being more present for the people in front of me.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I love that. All right. Next one that I love to ask. She believes she could is a popular saying and phrase that long precedes this show. Wish I could take claim for that. But it means something to pretty much everybody that we interview. Is there a moment in your life where you can really look back and said, I believed I could and I did?
Absolutely. A year ago when we were sitting in our local coffee shop in our hometown, and I looked at Mom and I said, this is what I want to do and I know that we can do it. And I'm going to be smart enough to bring you on as my co-founder and do this together.
So yes, that.
A year ago, almost to the week. Yeah.
I love that. It's so beautiful. All right. What about you?
Gosh, I have so many. My first job. I really knew I could do it when someone else said, I believe in you. And I know you can do this. So my goal is to make sure that everybody we work with knows that we know they can do it.
Yeah. Speak truth. Hold up the mirror. Yeah. Oh, the mirror holders are really important.
Yes.
Really, really important in this world. So hold up the mirror for others. Speak life into their goals and dreams. And you never know. Again, the ripple effect, right? That happens as a result of somebody borrowing the confidence that they have in you or you have in them to be able to go run and take on the world. Okay. Last rapid fire question for you.
Okay.
We love to be inspired around here, and we love, books and podcasts and, influential people. Who do you look up to that we should also connect our audience with?
Christiana Roussel. She is such a close friend of ours. She's one of my biggest mentors, but she is a travel, lifestyle, and influence journalist. And she is just so amazing. She has so many amazing ideas, but she's just a cool woman who is so good to talk to, who has so much knowledge that she is willing to tell people about. So Christiana is my go-to girl.
Yeah, we love people that don't gatekeep and want to share, right? That's how we all continue to get better together. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I'm a podcast junkie. So I read a lot, and I traded my reading for podcasting about 3 years ago. So there's so many. Amy Porterfield.
Oh, yes. Love
Jenna
her.
Kutcher, Gold Digger. I love The Hidden Brain and TED Radio Hour, really, really opens my mind on things to be thinking about. So, yeah.
I love that. We'll link all of your recommendations in our show notes. But I've been looking forward to this day. We've talked about recording so many times, but I'm so grateful that the timing aligned to now, leading up to the magazine. We're going to link everything in the show notes as well for our audience to subscribe and be a part of what it is that you're building, because it really does. It goes beyond Georgia, right?
Yes.
It's intended to be really a global movement to help run alongside women that are figuring it out, but know that it's all figure outable, truly. And there's a community of women that are cheering them on. So we'll link all of that. And I'm just so grateful that you're both here and just to, again, be on the sidelines cheering you on. You are both so special to me, and I just am so looking forward to all of the abundant success that's headed your way.
Thank you.
It's been such a joy to do this with you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I am so grateful that you are here. As always, please continue the conversation over on Instagram at Allison Walsh, and make sure that you check out all of our freebies. If you scan the QR code, if you're watching on YouTube, or check out the link in the show notes, it will take you to a page full of resources and trainings and things to help you go farther, faster. And that is always my intention, is to help you continue to grow. And as always, I believe in you 1000%. And my goal is that you do too. Take care, beautiful. I'll see you next time.